Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell so that you get a notification of when we release a new video. We are recording just before semi-finals weekend, so it is obviously Fan Friday, but it's also a pink day for cancer, so Michael is supporting that side. I'm supporting the Fan Friday. Welcome, Michael.
Morning, Robin.
Michael, there's a lot going on. A lot of it is kind of still much of the same, but there's three basic topics happening out there. The one is US 10 Treasury Yield, 10-year Treasury Yield touching 5%, first time in 16 or 17 years. There's obviously the Israel-Hamas potential ground invasion. And then on a local front, is there life after load shedding? So I've given you a wide range. Maybe you'd like to pick where you want to go.
Yeah, I think we should actually start with the Israel-Hamas situation, unfortunately, because it's coming up for 2 weeks since Hamas's attack on Israel. That was on Saturday the 7th, so it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. And yeah, Robin, I think the whole world is waiting to see whether Israel has a ground invasion. Obviously, there's a lot of troops amassed on the border. I think there's a huge amount of diplomacy going on behind the scenes. Obviously we've had Biden in the Middle East, we've had Rishi Sunak in the Middle East this week. I think there's a real concern that if Israel does go into Gaza, then there are going to be enormous casualties on both sides, because to have that kind of urban guerrilla warfare is going to just lead to enormous casualties. But also, is it going to drag in Iran and Hezbollah, and can Israel actually fight a war on 2 or 3 different fronts? And I think there's debate about whether they can even do that. So I think if there is a ground invasion, sure, I think that's really a bad outcome. I'm not saying that there's not justification for retaliation, but I think the Chinese saying of before setting out on revenge, always dig 2 graves, may be a little bit pertinent here. So I think the whole world is concerned about that. Oil prices are reacting, unfortunately, so oil prices are at $93 a barrel.
Gold as well.
Gold is obviously also soaring, which is not bad for us.
And Bitcoin, Michael.
And Bitcoin. We don't talk about Bitcoin. But yeah, the oil price is really concerning. We're back in a situation where we could have a real spike from energy prices, and it's going to feed through to our inflation, global inflation. So that leads me on to the US 10-year at 5%. Yeah, I think Jerome Powell spoke last night, and I think on the one hand there's a feeling from Fed officials that higher bond yields are actually doing some of the work of raising short-term interest rates for them. So he almost reiterated last night that there wouldn't be a hike at the November meeting, but December, all cards are off the table. So we're still living with this do they, don't they sort of situation of have interest rates peaked or not, and it will depend on where things go to from here with Israel largely, So yeah, I mean, interest rates are high. I think that bond yields are in some ways in the US certainly acting for higher short-term rates.
So Michael, just to interrupt you there, the real issue that they've got is that they've been quite aggressive with interest rate hikes, but the American economy is just showing way more life, and they're scared of it boiling over. So the interest rates is really to keep the lid on it, isn't it?
Yeah, Robin, I mean, it's GDP growth in America has been revised up again, over the past week, sort of from JP Morgan, who I think has got one of the better economics units out there. So yeah, I mean, the American economy has certainly surprised everybody this year in terms of how strong it is. But yeah, I do think there are cracks. I think if you read through a lot of company reports, there's slowing demand across a lot of areas. So I think that will manifest itself in the year, but that's a topic for another day.
Yes.
And then, yeah, Robin, the last thing I was very pleased to hear on the radio this morning as I came in, that there's no load shedding until Monday. So at least Eskom, you'll be able to watch the rugby.
Yeah, thank you, Springboks.
without fear of being turned off unless something dramatic happens. But I think there are a couple of things that have happened, Robin, in the last couple of weeks. Well, earlier this week, Kusile Unit 1 was brought back online.
That was early, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 6 weeks earlier than anticipated. Kasuli Unit 3 was also brought back online, probably a month ago now.
Yeah.
So now you've got 2 units of Kasuli that are operational. That's 1600 megawatts, 800 each. That's a really important milestone for Eskom. I mean, obviously the sort of nicer weather, all the solar that's been installed is reducing load shedding, and I think really I think our thesis holds true, Robin, that we sort of saying in sort of May, June time when we were at the peak of load shedding, and it was pretty dark days back in May, if you remember back as far as that, that we've turned the corner on load shedding. There's easily we could go back to stage 3 or stage 4. We could have a breakdown, we could have something, but I think the private sector's response to load shedding, the reforms that have come through, I think there's a sea change in electricity in this country, and it will continue. So I'm sure we'll still have load shedding in 2024, but more and more it's becoming more and more widespread, the narrative that load shedding is going to steadily reduce from here.
Yes.
And so I think we're firmly on that page. It's not to say we're not going to have bouts of load shedding and we can't go back and have stage 4 for a couple of days or a week or 2, but I think the capacity of the country is improving all the time, which is great.
Well, that's good news. Well, let's just hope we can win a semi-final and get into the final to bring the William Webb Airless Trophy home. You will know by the time you watch this.
Yeah, then we won't have load shedding next weekend either.
Yeah,
so.
that'll be really good. So thank you for joining us, Michael. Thank you for that insight. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll get you next time. Bye-bye.